IDB's meeting in Calgary wrapped up this week with an unyielding sense of confidence in Latin America's economic future. Government officials are almost unanimous in saying that their region has finally turned the corner. The general view is that it's the advanced economies that have become the risky ones, while emerging markets are increasingly seen as safe havens for investment.
First and most importantly, we remain stuck in what I call the world turned upside down. It's not just a world of low growth in the mature economies and high growth in the emerging economies. It's also a world of higher risk in the mature economies and receding risks in the emerging economies. Very, very paradoxical, very unusual conditions that should be expected to persist.
But as the world economy rebalances, this upside-down reality could once again turn on its head, complicating the picture for policymakers. Latin America's economy remains very much at the mercy of external forces. Insatiable demand from China for the region's commodities have long put the wind into the region's sails. But as Beijing is forced to cool down an overheating economy, the possible impact on Latin America must not be overlooked.
Yeah, indeed, the most important effect that the China's slowdown would have on Latin America and on emerging markets would be a slowdown in commodity prices. So this is kind of a very big question, and we have a very big uncertainty when we look at the world and we say which emerging markets are resilient to a decline in the terms of trade, because we have seen a lot of progress all around emerging markets, but at the same time with very strong and good external conditions, high terms of trade. So the issue is which country, if terms of trade decline, which countries will be able to pass those problems without much turmoil.
Capital, too, has been flowing to the region, thanks in part to ultra-low interest rates in the West. But developed world monetary policy will eventually normalize, and when it does, the wall of money that has flowed into emerging markets largely uninterrupted for 2 years could come crashing down.
One thing I've learned in looking at Latin America over 30 years is never underestimate the impact of higher US rates. Now, that said, it looks to us as though any increase in US rates will be quite modest. So instead of it being 300-400 basis points, it'll probably just be 25, 50, 75 basis points. And Latin America can probably manage that. But again, if you combine it with a China monetary policy shock, could be significant and is definitely worth watching for.
Alarm bells are starting to ring. The IMF is once again urging countries to start saving for a rainy day.
Well, I'm not the one, I do not have the prerogative to suggesting countries what they have to do. What we generally speak is that they will be very well advised not to take this period of bonanza as something permanent. So to build buffers to save for a rainy day is a good thing.
For now, Latin America's main challenge is inflation, something experts say will put the brakes on the region's expansion as rising interest rates take their toll. Though not all the region's policymakers are willing to face up to the challenge.
Mr. Voodoo, the whole vision of the economy in Argentina from outside is contaminated by this controversy about inflation. Do you think that this is going to come?
Come on. I am from several times.
Had that quite sharp adjustment, even though...
For the longer term, big questions remain about how to resolve deeper imbalances in the global economy, which have led to many of the challenges we're seeing today. Canada's central bank governor, Mark Carney, this weekend called for a new code of conduct on how to manage the huge amounts of foreign capital pouring into emerging economies. More profoundly, Carney called for nothing less than a refounding of the international monetary system to prevent the big economies from acting on policies based solely on national interest. That goal may still seem elusive, but whatever the case, what's clear is that the road ahead will be filled with more than a few surprises. Tamer Ahmed, Emerging Markets, Calgary.